Yep, you got to make the effort to see what the other side is saying and thinking, and you don't. It's funny, I was going to say, let's just worry about getting those tits of yours fucked instead. But somebody already beat me to the punch. I agree with you 100%, you dumb cunt. I could never be a fucking woman. Like that song. I know that just sounded weird, but there's a song, but the name is called, I'm not sure if it's the name of the song or the band, but White Town. I could never be a woman. It's a weird one. It's got a weird beat. It's like, I could never be a woman. I'm the right kind of shoe for you. I like to eat blue. I could never be a woman. It's a weird song. Yeah, you broads got it bad, you know. Constant sliding scale of in chemical balance. You know, you might get 3 days, you know, that are the same, and then you're transitioning into some other mood. And you know, you still get grief for it. Must be that time of the month, bitch. You know, and your beauty fades. You know, you got a 10 to 15 year window. You got to do all your living and traveling and getting all your experiences and simultaneously securing Mr. Right. So it, you know, after 12 years and 9 months and 2 weeks and 5 days, you can snag Mr. Right, you know, and pop out the kids and settle down and become mom and dad and have the kiddies and stuff. But you still got to find your man, you know, with enough time to enjoy the honeymoon, newlywed years, you know, at least, you know, 6 months to a year to travel and just fuck off, you know. Shit, your beauty fans, all this shit. You know, nobody, you know, gives a shit about you. You know, you got to do all this stuff to be strong and independent, and then nobody cares. You know, other women are like, well, fuck you. Who do you think you are? And dudes are like, we never cared about that in the first place. We just want you to cook, clean, suck our dicks, sex us up, cuddle us up, make us feel like kings and special and loved and adored, and that sweet tenderness and the way your hair smells like shampoo or whatever soap you use, you know, and just all that shit. That's your role in life, woman. Yeah, I don't envy you dumb broads one bit. Not all broads are dumb, just most of them. You know, you're emotional and shit. Not to sound all sexist and shit, but it's the truth. Women can't do anything. Can't fucking fly airplanes. Because they don't have, well, they can, but they don't have the killer instinct. You know, they don't have that G. 5 on 1. Well, we're here. Drop the tanks and crank and bank. Turn and burn. By the way, I saw an airplane fly over me today, directly overhead. That was a World War II era. I'm not sure if it was British, because it had like the round symbols on the wings, or if it was Japanese. But it was like olive green, and Japanese colors, I don't think they had, I think most of their planes, at least over the ocean, were white with the red star. Or not star, that's Russia. Who didn't really have an air game, I guess. At least they weren't mentioned. You know, Russia sent their people to war with pitchforks and grease guns. You know, and they were tough dudes, you know, but they lost like the most. They just got slaughtered. You know, but there were some tough motherfuckers. I've heard stories of like them taking out entire platoons, you know, in a building with like a fork. You know, and the Germans were like, these Wiener Schnitzel, Hegel, Heigl, sauerkraut, these fucking Russians, man. Woo! But anyway, you know, they just sleep standing up, you know, in the middle of winter. Everybody else is dying and freezing. But anyway, it had that. I'm not sure if it was rotary or inline. I can't tell the difference. It may have been a replica, which means it's probably a little bit different, which means it probably sounded just a little bit different. It's a little bit smaller. The compression was a little bit less. The exhaust manifold was a little smaller, or something that made it. The propeller was a little bit smaller. So the chop. See, you're hearing the chop of the prop and the engine. Um, which is basically the exhaust is what you're hearing. So that was interesting. Maybe it has something to do with that airplane movie. That's weird. So we all have people whispering in our ears. See, let me tell you something. You know how I say things like work out for me? Here's a little story. And I'm just thinking, what was it? And I found 2 flat rocks. Didn't find any before. Just found one, like literally the day after I watched that movie, and I found one today. I'll show them. I got them. And I just happened to, look down and see them. Like, hey, that's a flat rock. Because wasn't that in the movie Flat Rock, Colorado? That's where they sent them to whatever they called it, fire bomber school or something like that. But I don't know if that's a real town. I didn't look it up. I honestly don't care. I may or may not get around to it. I know South Park is a real town, like the cartoon South Park. But South Park in Colorado actual is like open, like prairie land. There's no town there. It's like mountainous or something. I don't know. Don't care. But so that's that. So there's this dude, right? Hate whore's gonna hate, right? So there's this motherfucker. This happened, I don't know, maybe a month ago or so. He was out. He's a driver who knows the boss. And there was 4 of us, and he was kind of talking, and he did, I believe it's called that covert bullshit, or I call it disguised in plain sight. This motherfucker threw a line out there, and I guess I should have said life's full of choices, because that's easy cheesy in front of everybody up to and including my boss. But I let it slide. But the next time I saw him driving by, I yelled at him like a calm and collected motherfucker that I am. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I said, what did I say? I don't know. I said, do your dance, hate whore, or something like that. And the loader guy was right there. And he's talking to me on the walkie-talkie. So I do that, and I get, I'm pretty sure he heard me. He was probably maybe 10 feet away. He like moved his hands, and it was kind of weird. His window wasn't down, but anyway, pretty sure he heard me. I yelled it, and then I, was like, I'm sorry, what did you say? To the loader operator. So he's probably like, you fucking freak. Hey, fuck you. And then a little bit later, he did some stuff, and he did have his window down, and I said, go, lizard, go! Because a lot lizard is a whore. And I guess I could have said, whore. But you got to play that game. And if I get called on it, I'm just going to say, you know what you're doing. I'm not going to be like, ooh, I don't bait and switch. But you still kind of want to rein it back. No swear words, no this, that, and the other. And then he did something the other day. He was walking around and he was getting some tools. So it's like, oh, okay, all right, make yourself at home. And like I said, I don't care. That is you're not going to disrespect me. Period. Okay. I've already thought about it. You're just not going to do it. Like I said, it's the hill I will die on. I'm patient, but if you send out an inch, if you throw a pebble across my fence, I'm going to throw that pebble back. So, not with interest, just even Steven. And that'd be a damn shame, if I lost my job over some bullshit, because this is a really good deal. But anyway, and I've been, in the hot seat before. I've had to talk to the boss on several occasions, blah, 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 that log, man, you fucked it up. Well, I'm the fucking driver, I ain't fucking around. Well, don't get smart with me, you won't have a job. Called him later and apologized. The other one, blah, 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 one dude, everybody shut up, this is a driver eating a shit sandwich, so, like I said, I loved that company. It was awesome. And then when I went to the last company that I worked for, there was a culture, and it was like, be kind, be nice. If you're within 10 feet of another human being, you have to say hello. It's mandatory. And then, of course, this is coming from abroad. You know, it's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. But anyway, so he said something. He said, I'm right behind you. And then I didn't hear what he said. You know, it sounded almost like he said, don't be scared, which is the typical, you know, paint by numbers bullshit, you know. You know, hey, fuck you. No, fuck you. Just actually, no, don't say it with that tongue. No, fuck you, man. No, fuck you, man. And that's it. Not your mother too and anybody like you, because that'll be taken out of context. But just, no, fuck you. Tit for tat. And then the next step is, see, he didn't beat my ass because he's scared. You know, it's just human nature, man. The emptiest vessels make the most noise. But, so I was like, God, it's like I had a brain fart, you know. I guess I was kind of tired. It briefly entered my mind to say, what? But I didn't for some mysterious reason. It must be that guy whispering in my ear, hold back, hold, not now. I can just hear him. What's his name? Richard Dreyfuss. Nope, not now. I know things you don't. This is going to escalate. You're going to get in a fight. You're going to win that fight. Like absolute. You know, he might get in a off, you know, indirect, you know, glancing blow or something, but you are going to whoop this motherfucker's ass. And he's a big, tall motherfucker, dude. Like stout dude, not just tall, but, you know, big dude. Probably like 10 foot tall. But, so instead, you know, he's working in the thing, and I'm like, you looking for something? He's like, I need a file, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we have one. And I grabbed the chain and walked away, you know, and it was just like, oh, okay, you know. There was no real. So I thought, you know what? I think if you give a rat a crumb, you know, they'll present to you not only a cake, but a space shuttle, a solar system, a community center, a library. They present to you whatever the hell, you know, comes out of their heart and mind. So I thought, okay, well, the next time I see that dude, yeah, I said, do your dance, hate whore. Is that what I said? No, I know I said that, but did I say that? Yeah. So the next time I see this dude drive by, I'm going to kind of dance a jig, you know, just a little, I can't do it, but not nothing stupid, but just sort of do it almost like a marionette, you know. I kind of got my shoulder, arms out, and my legs, and just sort of left, right, hop on this foot, hop on that foot, you know, and just whatever. And some might argue that's some clown bullshit. No, you're wrong. You can do it, you know. You can play that, you know, beef game. Just invented a new concept, beef game. There's this motherfucker, he's being mean to me. How's your beef game? What's beef game? Means when somebody's got a hard on for you and they're giving you shit, you got to implement beef game. What the fuck? But anyway, and he drove up, and I had just came from my car, and I was sitting back down, you know, waiting to do this stuff and whatnot, and I thought, man, if this motherfucker would have came just a little bit earlier or a little bit late, because I don't want to, like, go out there and make a point, right? It has to be literally, like, in passing. Oh, you? Yeah, fuck you, pal. You know, it needs to not be, hey. You know, because technically, like I said, I'm pretty sure he said, right behind you, don't be scared. But he said it kind of fast and muffled and under his breath because, well, you know, the emptiest vessels make the most noise. You got something on your mind, you got to get it out. It's just, you know, see, he didn't beat my ass. Pussy. Oh. Plus, big guys always think they're invincible just because of their size alone. Big and or strong. Everybody's a fighter these days. There's different levels of, you know, scrappers. Are you a hothead brawler? Can you take and throw a punch? You know, just pure rage and adrenaline. You know, you just keep going. You know, there's timid fights. There's dominance fights. You know, there's just all kinds of shit. You know, maybe you've been in, you know, a handful of fist fights in your life and you won, so therefore you think you're tough, you know, but, you know, you're really not. But there's a whole well, we'll just leave it there. But so I thought, God damn, man, damn it. Technically, I'm quote unquote behind in the beef game. But then the next time he came through, I happened to be walking across just as he was pulling up. So I thought, shit, isn't that nice? So I did the whole, fuck you, like, I can't put it into words, but it was clearly, I was making a mockery of him. I did the left foot, right foot, hop a little bit, and then I did like this. So when I brought my like right knee up, I'd lower like my right arm, and I had him up in the air like, a monkey or something. I just and took a couple steps, and hopped around. And, then as I crossed, as it got closer, I kind of did like a jump in the air, kicked my leg up and kind of put my hands out like a ballerina, But so I think we're even now as far as beef game goes. And like I said, maybe it was the dead guy whispering in my ear. Relax, you'll get your chance. So. And I don't like that. That's not how I am. I just want to, be. Just let me fucking be. I don't want to have to one up you or even get equal with you, But like I said, that was weird, he was right there. I heard him say, right behind you. And then I heard, that's a girl. So, I don't know. That's kind of fucked up. We all got dead people whispering shit in our ears, telling us what to think. Look down at the ground right now. That's a flat rock. Oh, shit. I think I'll pick that up. Never heard of this concept. But, anyway. But yeah, I haven't seen a World War II airplane in a bit. Because like I said, that sort of stuff used to happen a fair amount. I'd see an old bomber, 4-engine, heavy bomber, 2-engine light bomber. The B-25 Mitchell, B-24 Liberator. These are fairly fucking unique airplanes. Or maybe it was also a twin tail. What was it? The Lancaster was the British 4-engine heavy bomber. And of course, the B-17 is a really good looking bomber, tail dragger. But anyway, lightning, thunder, fairly close. It's raining a little bit. What else was I going to say about that? Hey, oh yeah, I went and bought a grinder on my lunch break. I've decided I'm going to have corded tools in my shed for when I need, lasting staying power. Now, I'm not sure if they're more powerful or if they just last longer. The batteries, do they slowly lose power or do all of a sudden they're just like, whoa? But cordless, batteries are so convenient, and it's common these days. And they've been on the scene for a minute, so they've worked the bugs out. So I've decided, because I've got, money to spend, I will have basically 2 of every tool. I mean, within reason, right? It depends, right? And you could, one might make the argument, instead of having a corded tool and a battery tool, just have a battery tool and always have one on the charger. Well, it depends on the tool. Okay? And we're just going to leave it at that. Because like I said, I'm going to have chain, cable, hoses and stuff. It's not going to be like a hardware store, but I'm going to have wood, different types. And I've already kind of started accumulating it. I see perfectly good shit on the side of the road. Wood, buckets. That's pretty much it. But, yeah, I have my, bench, with a metal top on it so I can set greasy parts on it and stuff. Like I said, there's this project that I could have handled a lot of this stuff, but I don't have the proper tools. So I'm going to buy an acetylene torch this weekend because that's the proper tool for it. I tried using a grinder and whatnot, but it's really, I'm pushing bad situation. It's safe and everything as far as the wheel and, they're all standard, and all that, but I need a little bit better face protection, you know, because the sparks flying up in the face, even with the safety glasses, is just not really my thing. And it was just, there was really no, it was the wrong tool for the job. I was cutting into the thing and the Dumaflachi, and the right tool for the job is to just cut it with a acetylene torch, and then anything that's, you know, whatever, just sort of whatever with the other shit, and then melt that shit away, and the bolt just falls out. So, because this guy, another like friend of the boss or whatever, you know, he comes by for like an hour, you know, if even that, because he's got his own gig. That was kind of weird sounding lightning. Usually lightning is kind of like crackly. That one was just like, and then it started crackling kind of off in the distance. That was weird. So whatever, I got one thing, right? I'm like, I'll take that. I'll take these bits because I got some other stuff that I need to do. It's locked, of course, because, you know, the state of modern people. Literally got to bolt everything down. And these are high-price items, you know. I get it. So I'll take that. He takes it. He grabs an empty box, puts it in there. I said, what, you got, like, extra in the back? And I'm like, he probably thinks I'm pacey. He has to say shit, you know, don't give away the game, you know, we got it stock in the background. He's like, no, we got one tool out here, and when one person buys it, you know, then we replace it. And I said, so how long does it take to replace it? He said, you know, today's Friday. Well, we sold this, so we should have another one by Tuesday. So I thought, okay, so that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It arrives on Tuesday. What he probably really means, how it really works, is you sell a tool, it's just unavailable. It shows up a week later from when it was sold. Okay. And whoever thought of that, I mean, maybe they got it figured out as far as that goes. Some sort of, you know, millennial Gen Z fuckboy, you know, who's, you know, just thinks differently. You know, I don't know, but it was just kind of like, damn. Okay. So that's that. By the way, that airplane video, I'm pretty sure they had like safety, you know, stuff, features, so that if your engine caught on fire, it didn't make its way back to the fuel tank and explode. Because engines caught on fire a fair amount, I think. You know, because bullets and, you know, every like fifth bullet in those airplanes, so you can see where your line is at, you know, as a tracer, right? So it was hitting fuel lanes and lines and punching a hole through cylinders, you know, and all kinds of shit. So not, you know, it doesn't have compression, but it's still got spark. You know, so engine fires, I think, were fairly common. So the one dude is like, well, shit, it's going to go to my tank. And the dude does that aerial, you know, fly over and puts the fire out, and then he's got the little thing. That was kind of funny. He kind of looks, and he looks over, and he's like, and then, you know, but I don't think it works like that, or worked like that. But I don't know. I'd have to Google it. But, yeah, it seems like if that was, I mean, that's like something a modern human would think of, you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, that one little problem. So, and actually, I guess the P-51 Mustang, the radiator cooler thing on the bottom there wasn't really a problem in flight a lot, because coming up from the bottom, just the way dogfights are played out and stuff, it wasn't really an issue. I'm sure it happened every now and then, but then they used it in Korea, and they were taking pot shots, you know, from their donkeys and whatnot. So they were hitting that radiator, and it was losing all of its shit and the bing bang, you know, body. So 24 minutes, I guess that's all I gotta say. Hey, baby, I stopped by the Chinese food place. Got me some Chinese food. I'm assuming they gave me some fortune cookies. I will report back later with what the fortune cookie gods have to say. Ooh. Katie Boo, I am so excited. But, anyway.